long-anticipated Freedom March from Selma to Alabama's capital of Montgomery finally gets underway as Dr. Martin Luther King addresses the crowd at the starting point. Twice before, the marchers had been turned back by state troopers. Now they march under a federal court order and with the protection of federalized National Guard units and regular troops. The first day, the marchers tramp a little over 7 miles. Those who have been assigned to complete the 54-mile walk hope to present a petition to Governor George Wallace. The first night is spent in a field near New Sister Springs Baptist Church, their host a Negro farmer.
I picked up the paper and I go, what? This is happening at my dad's place? I had the television on, and when they said we have left the first site and we're about to reach the second site, before they even mentioned her name, I knew it was my grandmother.
There were people everywhere. I remember the singing and the talking, people coming in and out of the house to use the phone. Then the next morning I got up and they were all gone.
Farming has never been something that garners a lot of acclaim and attention and focus, and yet deserve a lot of the credit for what happened here.
Ralph Abernathy stayed in the back right, and Dr. King stayed in this front right room. My grandfather stayed in this room.
It is impossible to not picture Alabama when you envision civil rights in America. 5 counties in Alabama have some of the most iconic moments in the history of not only civil rights, but America. And so I was moved to learn as much as I can about the period. And I stumbled on the fact that so much of that history was in jeopardy.
Thank you all for being a part of this and trying to make this dream come true, to share our family's legacies. This is Phil Power. He's worked really hard with us, and we just really appreciate him.
We have been ecstatic about the things that are happening with the campsite. We applied for and were accepted to be on the 11 most endangered list for historical places. Which allows for a national recognition for the restoration of homes and the restoration of these most significant historical places. We're really excited about everything, so thank you.
All right. Today is the first time that we, all 3 campsites, have gotten together to break bread, have a meal, talk about what we have in common as the families of the Civil Rights March. And I'm just elated for us to be able to sit here and tell the stories that we don't normally hear because we've never been together.
Nancy was a Gardner, and she was from Lowndes County too.
When she left here, she couldn't vote. When she came back, she was able to vote. Yeah, oh my God.
Tom Gardner is her brother.
When I was approached to do this project, sure, like, no, yes, I'm on board, simply because I understood the importance of these sites. My father was a pastor for over 20 years, and this was not only his first church, but the history here meant a lot to him. February 18, 1965, a local civil rights activist, James Orange, was arrested and placed in jail here in Marion, Alabama. Civil rights activists had heard that the Klan would try to lynch Mr. Orange. And so they met here, basically a mass meeting. Around 9 o'clock, the marchers came out of these doors right here onto the street, walking side by side, 2 by 2s, heading to the jail. The lights in this square were all turned off. And the next thing they know, batons, fists, everything was raining down on the marchers. Jimmy Lee Jackson was here, and his mother was one of the marchers, and in an attempt to protect his mother from being assaulted by the police, he covered his mother and was shot by a state trooper. 8 days later, he died. Every black paid taxes. Everyone paid the salaries of the police, and you didn't get any services, and you still had to contribute in that way, and yet you had no say. It is because of the death of Jimmy Lee Jackson that the Selma to Montgomery March planning started to happen. It galvanized thousands of people to come to this small community, to come to Selma, and to walk 54 miles. That is this man's legacy.
When one group set out to march to the Capitol at Montgomery, the procession was broken up violently by state troopers and sheriff's deputies.
It seems clear after this day that the pressures on the president are great. Today he spent over 4 hours meeting with civil rights groups.
A few minutes of mounting tension as the marchers hold their ground.
We have the right to walk to Montgomery if our feet can get us there.
The distance between Selma and Montgomery is 54 miles. Most people think it's just over the bridge, but it is not. There was nowhere for them to get food, there was no shelter, there was nothing to eat. If the farmers who assisted them did not open up their land, their homes, there was absolutely no way they would have been able to make it.
Nobody came to him and asked him. He went to them and told them that they was welcome.
My dad, he was a farmer, so he grew corn, apples, pears, peaches, peas and butter beans and greens and tomatoes, you can just name it, fruit. In the gardens, we had all of that. You never had to go hungry.
Everybody was farming. Back down and all around, back down in there, everybody was farming. It was all farmers. People raised everything. Most of my parents had to buy at the grocery store was like black pepper, salt, flour, sugar.
So you have Mr. Hall, born in 1905. He buys 80 acres of land at the age of 35 in Selma.
And he paid $1,800 cash money in hand. That's what the deed for 80 acres.
How is that even possible?
It says from right around here in that second under unit 6. Yeah, nobody
us to have that kind of land. Back in
1940.
yeah.
I don't know.
I keep looking at the cash in hand.
I know. I don't know how
How
he
you
did it.
get $1,800?
You might have borrowed from different relatives or somebody, you know, he knew somebody, and, you know, he was working and saving up his little money, and
Maybe then, maybe he had 1,500. Maybe he got it up
But
there.
that's what he told me. He worked at Selma.
Before you guys
And then-
were born,
yeah,
that was
right.
his teenage job or something.
Yeah.
So he grew everything.
Everything he
He
needed.
raised
gave
hogs.
everyone.
He raised
They
cows.
made their own
Right.
butter. They
Right.
made
What I
their
hear, he
own.
gave-
raised. So you have money, but now you have to buy all the stuff. Wait a minute.
Yes.
So how do you work a full-time job and then keep a farm?
He came home and he worked on this farm here until night. I mean, night. My mother died when I was 12, so he took care of the kids until he remarried later years. I mean, he took care of all the kids. Every weekend, he would make homemade ice cream. And we all would sit around and eat ice cream and laugh and talk. I don't know too many men would do that. But my dad he was something else.
Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round. I'm gonna keep on a-walking, keep on a-talking, marching up the freedom way.
Amen.
Yeah. Amen, Mr. Prince. Let's do it.
I used to come up during the summers, and I just thought it was the best thing to come and spend the week with Mama Rose, and especially the fact that she had a store.
Okay. No, it was something because I want to get the dates right. She was born 1889, but she got married at the age of 15 to Richard Steele.
They had 6 children, and he died, I believe it was 1924. And she was left to raise the kids alone after that.
She saved the money that they received from the farm and was able to build a store and a house attached to the store on Highway 80. When you walk through the door, you would see a big butcher block. And on that block, she would have like the round cheese with the wax covering over it. And over maybe on this side was things for your headaches, like goody powders. And then you would walk back to the back, and there was a sitting area. She had chairs around the stove because they would like to come and just be in her presence.
Bunch said who the man was.
Bunch may know, I don't know.
I thought she said
Who's the man sitting on the step?
Mr. Zale, that was one of her customers, those monthly customers that would come and get their groceries until the next month.
Yeah. She had like a running list of people who came in her store. Maybe they didn't have the money to pay at that particular time, so she would just have a list of, IOUs, and they would pay her later. But she never, ever turned anyone away.
She was born 24 years after slavery ended, and she was a property owner. She was a businesswoman and had the strength and the fearlessness to allow marchers to stay on their property, it brings up a really undescribable strength in me. And it says, with tents of marchers on her land, 75-year-old Mrs. Steele reports, I'm not afraid because I've lived my 70.
It's home to us. This is where we grew up. This is where I feel safe. Yeah. And every time I drive in, you know, some memory will come up. You know, we picked blackberries and raised chickens and played outside. This is home to us.
Take into consideration, this house was where my dad grew up. He has a sister who's 103. And this is where they were born.
We had 140-some acre playground. I had my horse, I had to ride my horse, ride my bicycle. If neither one of them, I jump on the tractor, take off.
We had hogs, we had cows, we had chickens, and we grew every vegetable under the sun. That was food security. Things we don't think about now, that we have places where there's food deserts and people being able to feed their families. We didn't have a problem because we were able to feed our family. My father was able to feed his family without having to go outside. So, this is a photo that I found, and these are marchers in the tent, and they were getting ready for bed. They were blowing up air mattresses. This is one that was in the Jet magazine. As soon as he got out that he had agreed to allow the marchers to camp here, he was offered a bribe not to. He was threatened. The phone lines were cut, the power lines cut. When the National Guard were doing their sweep of the property to make sure that there were no bombs or anything, they found a neighbor with a high-powered rifle pointed in the direction, waiting on my father to do his rounds to check on the cows. My father was a very protective person, very protective of his family. So to put his family in that type of danger, this had to be very important to him.
Today I want to say to the people of America and the nations of the world that we are not about to turn around.
Yes, sir. Reverend King, your march is over now. You've accomplished your goal. What is the next move?
Well, the next move is to turn our resources and energies toward lobbying in Washington and toward inspiring people all over the nation.
The heart of the act is plain. Wherever, by clear and objective standards, states and counties are using regulations or laws or tests to deny the right to vote, then they will be struck down.
I know.
And what is this, Krisha?
This is the only photo that I found at King Center of that day.
So this is on his land?
I'm trying to find out between our land, or it might be Mrs. Gardner's land.
So
I was 8. This is the day. Because he died in July. This is the day. You remember the barn?
Oh yeah. Because see, Granddaddy would always be sitting right over there. Yep.
Sweeping plans to overhaul the state's election procedures. Since this morning, members of the public have been flooding the state capitol to give their own testimonies. Both bills set to be debated over the coming days during the legislature's special session, largely resembling Republicans' first attempt to pass a restricted voting act back in May.
The vote by mail and the ID requirements of the vote by mail is in particular, I think.
I don't want their sacrifices to be in vain. All the things that they endured, that should not be in vain.
After all of this happened, her store was mysteriously burned down to the ground.
The store and the house burned down, and it was said that that was, because of what she did. But we were never able to prove that.
Every year, he would get a loan from the bank to do his farming, but the bank refused to give him the loan after that.
When we think about the civil rights movement, if it were not for the farmers, if it were not for the maids and the housekeepers and the janitors, the contribution of the people here, and the land that they cultivated, all of it goes together.
Yeah, but it's a great thing. What he did brought on a change. It really did. And I'm proud. Yeah. And I'm proud of what my daughter's trying to do to carry on what he left. And anything I can do, if it cost me my life, I would do it for them, for the world.
My hopes and my family's hopes and dreams for this property is that one day we could have biking trails, walking trails, educational trails.
It's this right here.
I would love for people to one day maybe even be able to come and camp out.
There's been times when people would approach us about purchasing the property, but I feel like it's a sacred space. I would never agree to sell the property that she left to us, some 28 acres right here on Highway 80.
My great-granddaddy did it, my granddaddy did it, my uncle did it, but he passed last year. So that was the time for me to step up and keep it going. With the history that this place has, I just want to keep it going.